Good afternoon, you guys. Last week, good opening weekend overall for us. I thought in many areas of our game we were pleased with some of the progress that we saw. Certainly lots to improve on, but I really liked how hard we competed. I liked, I don't know how to describe it as much as we had a lot of injuries. Guys nicked up, guys having to be pulled out of the game. We had a lot of lineup changes even within the game, and I thought guys adapted to it really well to the extent possible. And so was happy to see guys stepping up in roles that maybe they hadn't had before and willing to do whatever it took to allow the team to have some success. So a lot of specialty team time, especially on Friday, but both nights all combined. I thought we saw some good puck movement on our power play, generally speaking, for a first weekend. And other than giving up a goal on the first shorthanded situation we had, I thought we did a decent job in our penalty kill. Disappointed that we gave up a shorthanded goal, which was costly in Game 1. But overall, I thought it was a pretty productive weekend. Heading into Denver, we know we're playing a really good team. They've got some very dangerous players that return in their lineup. I think they play a very high-tempo game. They play with skill. They're coming off a split, so they'll be excited and hungry to play. And for us, it's another opportunity to get on the road, come together as a team, play over the adversity of the injuries that we have at the moment, and kind of measure up where we are. So we're looking forward to that challenge. Questions? We're going to start right with you, Neil.
Like Peter Gammons, huh? I guess a lot of areas to start, but I guess one of the things that's prominent in the Spartan fans' mind so far is the injuries. How does that look right now, and what does that mean for the weekend?
That's prominent, all right. We have a lot. I hope that's not a sign of what's to come, but we have a lot. We had guys that we were counting on playing meaningful minutes haven't played. Haig didn't dress for a game, and I don't know his status quite yet. We're kind of taking it a day at a time, so I don't even know if he'll make the trip. Keller won't make the trip. He's out. He sustained an injury in the first period of the Friday game and really didn't play most of the game. I can't remember. It was the second or third shift, I think. So didn't play all that game. Ferentino was injured in the first period of Saturday afternoon's game. Didn't play the rest of the game. And so we played without him pretty much for 2 periods for Saturday, a little more than 2 periods for Saturday. Not sure his status.
This is upper body, right?
Yep. And Pavlik got slashed in his leg by a skate, and pretty nasty cut. Was stitched up. I don't expect him to play or travel. And I don't know if I'm missing somebody. There seems to be one more that I might be missing. Is that 4 guys? Too many. It's too many at this stage of the game. I think.
And who was the first one?
Haig.
Haig was certain practice last week, right? Is that what happened, or he didn't get hurt?
The other 3 questionable?
I would. The 2 of them won't play. Pavlik and Keller won't play, and the other 2 I'd say are questionable at this point. That's Ferentino and Haig.
But Haig did not dress on Friday because of an injury.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
So I don't know what to expect. I gave the guys the day off yesterday because we essentially traveled the majority of the day on Sunday. A number of players, played a ton of minutes, and that wasn't the plan. That was just necessitated by the number of injuries that we had. And so I wanted to make sure they had some time to recover and get their schoolwork done and get rested up. And so even in today's practice, I had a plan A for practice and a plan B for practice, depending upon how many players we had available to us.
So first week, you're being challenged with adversity to see how you come through.
Without a doubt. And I was pleased with how guys responded to it in terms of whatever was asked of them, they did to the best of their ability. Certainly, guys that we have out, make an impact on our team. So it changes your dynamics a little bit. But, we were moving guys around on the fly, and guys stepped up to do whatever was necessary. So that was a positive sign.
Another positive sign was Zach Osborne on defense, creating offense. How would you rank his play for the first college weekend?
I thought he played real well. I thought, for the most part, all weekend, I thought his decision-making was good. I thought he defended well. The obvious was you could see what he brought to the table offensively, not just in goals, but his puck movement was good. I don't think he forced things. He made good decisions coming up the ice. He has that ability to go back and get the puck and break it out, or sometimes move it out with his feet on his own. And I thought he did a pretty good job. So I think he approached it probably in a very simplistic way, and as a result, normally when you do that, it helps your performance. Now the key will be to maintain that and be able to do that on a night-in, night-out basis. But as a first weekend, I thought he made a strong impact and played very well.
It's something you're looking for from your defense.
Yes, without a doubt. We need to get more activation out of our defense and more, not necessarily point productivity as much as participation in our offense, and we got that this weekend. I know one of Mac's goals came off of a shot from Drager or a shot pass from Drager. I know that obviously Zach had 2 goals, but I think their ability to move the puck out of the zone, move up with the play, be involved in the forecheck when it's necessary. I thought all the guys did a good job who were playing back on the blue line. You saw Travis Walsh get up in the rush. You saw Carson Gatt get up in the rush. You saw Chris Knutson get up in the rush. Those are things that we're going to have to do at the right times and do well to help contribute to our offensive attack.
I don't know who has more injuries, you or D'Antonio, but have you ever had 4 significant players go down on the first weekend of the season?
Not in my 4 years here, no. This is a first, and we're just hoping that it's not a sign of things to come. We're hoping we get them all out early and we move along.
So, Tom, can you compete at the level you need to against Denver with if you have 4 players out of the lineup?
Well, we'll compete. We'll compete. We're going to kind of see where we are, and we're going to test our depth. That's going to give us an idea that they're a darn good team. That's why they're a top 5 ranked team. Lots of talent on their team. And it'll provide opportunity for some guys to play minutes that maybe they wouldn't normally get. So we'll have to see where we can kind of shake out as to how we compare to a team like that.
How do you see a team like Denver, obviously with sustained success? They've been a real good program for so long, and you got football going against Michigan this week. But is there something similar with that? Obviously early season, non-conference, but I don't want to call it a program win, but certainly one that could provide quite a bit of merit.
I think it's a measuring stick for us. We come into the year with high expectations for our own performance, but we know that based on having a little bit of experience this year, returning our goalkeeper who was a player of the year in our league last year, bringing in what we think is a good quality freshman class to add to the mix, we thought we had a real chance to continue to elevate our game. And the real question was, how's our team going to come together, and how fast will that take place to see where we fit into the mix? And I thought this particular series would be an early season measuring stick for us. And that's how we'll approach it. Tough place to play. They win most of the time at home. And I think our guys are looking forward to that challenge, knowing it'll be very challenging in spite of, even if we had a full roster of players with no injuries, it was still going to be very challenging. So I think it'll be interesting to see how we measure up.
I'm going back to injuries, just obviously on the defense, aside from the injury to Rosberg, everyone is mostly healthy?
We're a little nicked up, so we'll have to wait and see, how that plays out. But I think I'm hopeful that we'll be healthy back there. Yeah.
Okay. You guys were voted in terms of the top 20 in the country. You guys are just right on the outside looking in. If you were to come away with, say, a split this weekend, that might push you into that top 20. What kind of how would that momentum help you coming into the Big Ten season?
I just think the most important thing for us is each week that our team gets better. That's been the focal point that we talk about every day, is we're trying to get a little bit better every day and each week make progress in our game. So we've been thrown a little bit of adversity here early, which has affected our preparation to not really get better at things, but to even implement things with some of the changes that we're dealing with. So we're measuring day by day and week by week, and a week from now we'll kind of see where we're at and have to reassess our next steps forward. But our goal is to put ourselves into the mix all season long and be playing our best hockey and be well positioned by the end of the season, which is the most important time of year. So I don't want to create an unrealistic timeline given the changing dynamics you deal with. But like I said, I think this is a real measuring stick for us because we know they're a good team. We know they're at home and they're tough to play against there. And it'll be interesting to see where we sit.
Coach, you talked a lot about, in your media day conference, you talked about a lot about the junior class trying to emerge, and they needed to emerge for the season. We saw, Cox got a few points this weekend, and Mac had a couple goals, and I think it was JT had a goal and a couple points. Are they right on track with where you expected them to be?
Off to a good start. I didn't put hard numbers into any kind of spreadsheet to see their measurement, but that's a good start. All of those guys have contributed, not just in point productivity, but in quality of play, and I could add more. Johnny Drager played huge minutes, or he's a senior. I'm sorry. I meant Thomas Edding played huge minutes for us. Not sure what kind of points he got during the course of the weekend, but he played. He killed penalties. He played on the power play. He played in front of the net. He filled in for time that Ferentino was out. So I think across the board, we got a good contribution from those guys. It was nice to see Chris Knutson get a few minutes in. He hadn't really played all last year, and he's coming off of a knee injury. So he, too, is a junior. So I think those are David Bondra got a chance to play and did a pretty good job for us, in the minutes that he was asked. So I hope he keeps elevating his game. Thought he did a good job. Connor Wood did a good job. So, offensively, do we need point productivity from those guys? Absolutely. That was a good start in that regard, and I'm sure is a confidence boost for those guys. But even bigger than that was the quality of play of all those guys in totality that I thought, really stepped up and helped make a difference in the first weekend.
And Stengline too, right?
Yeah, I didn't mention JT. He had a very good weekend. He's a guy in particular that we came into the season saying, geez, if he could ever emerge, I remember using that word at that time, if he could ever emerge and bring us a game that we can feel good about and he can feel good about, we know he has the potential to score. And I thought he had a good weekend. I thought he had a real good weekend, and that's something to build on, and I'm sure it's a confidence boost for him too. So all of those guys can be key contributors for us, and they're getting the opportunity to do that, and we need them to step up.
Going back to Zach Osborne a little bit, now how are the guys that responded to the freshmen playing well like that?
Our guys have been phenomenal embracing all of our freshmen, and I give both our guys the credit, the rest of the guys credit, but I also give the freshmen credit because those guys came in here and they worked hard to integrate themselves into the team. I mean, they're in, as a group, incredible physical shape. I mean, they worked hard in the off season. So right out of the gate, when they start working out with the rest of the upperclassmen, it's hard not to notice how strong they are, how hard they work, how competitive they are. And while they're respectful of the upper class, at the same time, they're willing to dig in and compete. And I think that earns an upperclassman's respect as well. And so to see as many of them in the lineup playing the kind of minutes that they are, sometimes guys can, I don't want to say jealous, maybe that's the wrong word, but they can be taken aback by that. And I haven't seen any of that. I see guys putting their arms around guys and embracing guys and, trying to help, a guy like Mason Appleton make his adjustment or Cody Milan make his adjustment or, Brennan Sandy make an adjustment. And then obviously Zach, on the blue line. So those guys have been embraced by the upper class, and I think they have a chance to make a real impact in both with their play and on the team.
How did those three other guys do?
They all did well. I thought we took some bad penalties that some of them were involved with the first night, and I talked to them, and that was addressed. And that's what's nice about the group so far is they're very coachable. They're like sponges. They're absorbing everything that you tell them. They adjust very quickly. And the nice part is they're very committed and they compete hard. When I came here and took on this role and the challenge of getting us back, one of the simple things I focused on was the commitment level and compete level. And we want to have a high commitment level, and we want to compete relentlessly in everything that we do. And all of these guys have that in their DNA, like they're Spartans. That's in their DNA. And the part that I like as well is they're like rink rats. They like being around the rink. They're not in a hurry. They don't get here late, and they're not in a hurry to get out of here. They love being around the environment. And we always joke about Zach O because he's always smiling. He reminds me kind of Ferentino in that regard. Like Michael Ferentino has always been like that since he's come here. And Zach's kind of the same way. I call him like he's a puppy. His tail's always wagging. He's always happy to see people and be around. He loves being with his teammates. So I could say that across the board about the group in general, even though they express themselves like many in different ways. They're not all the same personalities, but they have those key characteristics that are so important to what we're trying to do, and it's been embraced by the rest of the team.
Looking ahead, starting with Denver this weekend, pretty rough November, isn't it? Did Izzo help you make this schedule or what?
We have a very challenging schedule ahead, yeah, and I haven't spent any time looking ahead beyond Friday, Fred, in all honesty. But when we put the schedule together, we knew we'd have an upper-class team by this time, and we wanted to test ourselves to get ourselves ready for Big Ten play and hopefully get ourselves positioned to be in the national tournament. And there's no better way to do that than playing against good, strong competition, and we've succeeded in lining that up. Now we'll have to see how it goes week by week.
Good thing your freshmen are good because you're going to need them all this weekend, aren't you?
We're going to need them all. Yep, all the guys that go on this trip will have to play meaningful minutes. We had guys playing a lot of minutes last week. When you have injuries before a game, at least you can dress a certain number of players and you can plan for it. But we had injuries within games that now guys had to just step up and play. And the first night, we had some guys playing minutes that we had no intention that they would see in their first games of the season. And they attacked it as hard as they could. I was worried the second night on our recovery. And fortunately, guys really responded. And I thought that was a good testament to not only their physical condition, but their mental toughness.
Altitude a factor? You talked about that at all? Is that going to be a thing for this game coming up?
Made that mistake many years ago when I got into coaching, and I won't do that again. It is what it is, not to use that ridiculous phrase, but it is what it is. We're going to go out there. We're going to adapt as soon as our bodies allow us to, and we're going to go play. So we'll be conscious of. We're always conscious of keeping our shift time short, to play at a high tempo. But I expect the games each week to increase in their tempo, and that's going to be the challenge for us: is playing at a higher tempo than we did the week before, and being able to execute effectively at a little bit of higher tempo. So, will that be a factor? Sure. To a certain extent, but we can't allow it to be. So we just got to deal with it.
How did you make that mistake? We'll talk about it.
Yeah, when I was at Michigan Dearborn, my first coaching opportunity, I went and we played one night at Air Force, and the next night, and played really well. And the next night we went and we played, and I made no deal of it. I didn't even talk about it. It wasn't an issue. The next night, I had this ridiculous idea to put an oxygen tank on the bench. We played Colorado College, and it was ridiculous. It was almost like guys couldn't get their minds off of this oxygen tank, like it was going to, it was the fountain of youth. And I swear to God, it was like guys would go over the boards and do a three-star selection, half circle, and come right back and then start sucking on oxygen. And it made no impact, no positive impact whatsoever. And so that won't happen again.
2 oxygen tanks, right?
Yeah.
Anything else?
Yeah.
With all the other situations going on, lost in the shuffle here is the play of Hildebrand. How did he do the first weekend? And obviously it sounded like he made an impact on Saturday's game.
He did. I thought Friday night, I really kind of thought he was fighting the puck a little bit. I thought one of his biggest strengths is he does not give up rebounds very frequently. And when he's on his game, it's like Velcro. The puck either sticks to him or it goes to a good spot on the rink where it's very difficult to get a second opportunity. And the first night, for whatever reason, it just wasn't. And part of it might have been that first goal. They got a power play, and they shot the puck. It hit him in the head, which is harder to control the rebound, and it went right on the guy's stick. I don't even know if the puck touched the ice yet, but as it was getting close to the ice, the guy kind of one-timed it right in on a rebound. So that was kind of a rough start, both for our penalty kill and for, the first rebound of the game. And he competed, which he does, and he made some, definitely some big stops, but I didn't think he managed his rebound control to his level. Let's put it that way. The next night, I thought he was right on his game, and he was seeing the puck real well. The puck was sticking to him, or it would go in the right spots. And then I think it was late in the second period, we got trapped out there for a period of time, couldn't get off. I think we were coming off of a penalty kill at 1.2, and he had to make a number of really big saves. And that's what he does particularly well, and that's a big contribution he makes to our team. And any goalie does who can make the big, timely save when you really need it. And so at that time, I can't remember the score, if it was 2-1 maybe at the time or 1-1, whatever it was, it was a critical time. And then we come out and started the third period and we score right away. So, that little thing can really create a big swing in momentum. And I thought he played really strong Saturday.
Well, along that way in that period, so at one point when Ferentino goes out, then you've got Keller out, Haig out, Pavlik out, and Ferentino out. 4 forwards out, and probably the score was either 1-1 or maybe 2-1, whatever, because you got through a little late. So your team actually won the game with 4 guys out, and that must have been a great boost to everybody's confidence.
I thought it was a meaningful win when you consider where we were, the adversity you're facing early in the season, losing players that you're expecting to be on your top 2 lines. Yeah. And heck, at one time we had Keller, Ferentino, and Haig as a top 2 line together. So again, I think it was a confidence boost. It was a sign that guys stepped up. That was positive. It was a sign that we didn't let it get to us, which was positive. And, I don't want to talk about must-win games when you're starting your season, but you certainly want to get off to the best start that you can. And when you win, it certainly boosts your confidence. And so we're trying to gain confidence each and every week. So I thought that game Saturday was really important to have success in. And in spite of those injuries and the timeliness of them, we were able to find a way to win. And I think that was we were talking about that the whole time. Find a way. We have to find a way, and we did.
This weekend or last weekend, lots of teams that were ranked high lost games and all that. Did that surprise you that some of the top dogs happened to stumble getting out of the gate? Not necessarily, not this time of year.
Oftentimes you look at top teams and it's based on where they were the year before, what they have returning. I think it's too early to consider who's a top team right now. So I think over the course of the next several weeks, that will start to kind of identify itself as teams play each other. I think some teams come together a little sooner than others based on the amount of experience they have coming back, and then the question is how much more can they progress. So it's way too early to tell that. So I wasn't surprised by what we saw. A lot of close games.
There's a lot of parity. A lot of teams can beat anybody. Almost.
There's tons of parity. There's tons of parity in our sport, more than ever before, and that's why it's so important that you got to keep yourself in it all season long. And I think we've seen three seasons in a row where a very high seed, 14, 15, 16 seed wins the national championship. So you've got to get yourself in that mix. That's the key. Get yourself in that mix, and then hope to be playing your best hockey this season come March and early April. No, good. Okay, guys.